Welcome back to another episode of the Silver Boys podcast. I am your host, Cam Silver,
I am your co-host, Kyle Silver.
and here we are. Kyle, you said
Yes,
you wanted to say something?
yes, dude. Yes, I just wanted to give you your props on Governor Murphy, brother. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, but I had some previous things to get done. But I watched that podcast all the way through. Thought you did a phenomenal job, and I thought that was important for me to say in front of the people and to you as well. You my boy. You held it down as you should. And I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of this podcast, and we're gonna keep going all the way to the top, like you always say. That's all I gotta say about it. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Sir,
you.
yes, sir. But we had some good things go down this weekend, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. So the men's and women's championship games have been played, and we finally have some champions that have been crowned. Some crazy news coming out of the NBA.
Mhm.
Just what now about 2 weeks out from the NFL draft now. So yeah, things are still rolling, things are still going on. But let's get into it. So down in San Antonio, we had the men's. Their last four was down there. Auburn ended up winning. Excuse me, Florida ended up winning against Auburn 79-73. Another heroic game from Clayton Jr., 34 points, 4 rebounds. He was 11 from 18 from the field and 5 for 8 from three.
Mhm.
Um, Florida they were just able to turn up the defense and get back into this game and they were able to take it over.
Yeah, no, I completely second everything that you're saying. Florida was looking like, men amongst boys against Auburn, which, I know me and probably you, we always said, you mentioned this previously on the last podcast, but any four of these teams could win. Any four of those teams could win that ended up going to the regional finals and whatnot. Um, but what a great game, honestly. I really, I was rooting for Auburn. I'm not mad at Florida at all for winning. I'm not mad at that at all. Walter Clayton Jr. just solidified his name in Florida, essentially, I
Hmm.
believe, for that game. And they did what needed to be done against a really tough and tall uh Auburn team.
Yeah, yeah. They another. I think this was two back-to-back games. These were two back-to-back games for Walter Clayton with 30, and
Mhm.
he actually joins Larry Bird and that the only other player to ever do that for someone to go from the regional finals to the national semifinal game and drop 30. So that's big time right there.
Yes, very, very, very much big time. Yes. He was clutch when he needed to be.
Yeah, yeah. Houston shocked Duke as they were able to wipe away a 14-point deficit in the last 8 minutes. They were also able to hold Duke to just one field goal in the last 10 and a half minutes. Uh, we were able to watch the end of this game and just to see the way that Duke kind of handled everything, it was a bit shocking and also it showed in their youth. With
Hmm.
Houston being such an older team, I think everybody on their starting five was like 22 and up, if I'm not mistaken. So then you got, Duke, who's being led by two great, phenomenal freshmen who just turned 18, who played for most part played very, very well. It's just the fact
Hmm.
that Houston was indeed the number one defensive team in the country for the whole season, and they showed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That press towards the end of the game just broke Duke essentially. It seemed like they couldn't get the ball past half court, couldn't get a shot down, seemed frantic, just a little uneasy with the ball,
Yeah,
and Houston has been in that position, more times than not, more times than I can count on my hand. So they knew how to come back, they knew how to fight. It's been a team that's just essentially been fighting this entire way.
right.
Even though they're number one, but they've been fighting. They've been fighting for these wins. Um, you know, so shout out to them. I really thought Duke could pull that one out. I'm surprised at the collapse towards the end. But like you said, it just shows their youth, just shows that they have some more things to learn, how to deal with intensity, how to deal with pressure late in the game, when things matter most, how to get an easy bucket as well too. I think that was missing. I, I mean, I don't know how you erase a 14 point deficit in 8 minutes, man. We talked about this. We talked about this 2 weeks ago with Arkansas, 3 weeks ago with Arkansas.
Yeah, man, it's easier said than done, but like I said, it starts on the
Mhm.
defensive end. Like I said, they were the number one defensive
And
team
they
in the
showed it.
country for a
And they showed
reason.
it.
Like, yep, they showed it. Yeah, it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was shocking for me because, and the reason why I say this is because Houston played a lot more tougher teams this year than Duke did.
Hmm.
Think about it,
Hmm.
the ACC was basically cupcake for Duke.
Hmm.
Blowing almost everybody out. The only team that they had lost to in conference play was Clemson. Other than that, most of the other losses came from, last minute or like last second losses to to teams like Kentucky and other teams like that earlier in the season. So I
Hmm.
think that did hinder them just not being in that spot like Houston was, like as you said, because they've been in that spot multiple times throughout the season. So I
Hmm.
think that hinders them, and then also, like I said, it was their youth as well that had held them back. But if anything, most of that blame, in my opinion, goes on John Shire. John Shire has to figure out how to draw better plays. He has to figure out, certain things that he has to pull, certain things he has to understand is like something that I've always liked in football is that if they certain team like a team like Kansas City, if they know that they're going to see this team that they're playing in regular season in the playoffs, they're not going to show them their hand.
Hmm.
So it's things like that where Duke has to have certain plays where they're like, all right, we're going to keep this in our back pocket. So when we do really need it against a Houston, against a Auburn, against a Florida or whoever, we're going to use this play because they never seen this play.
Yes. Yes.
Certain stuff like that. Also, Duke had a hard time just getting the ball in,
Exactly. Oh,
during their
the
press too.
terrible
So,
time. Yeah.
yeah. So it was just horrible. But yeah, shout outs to Houston on that one. And then they were able to meet up with Florida in the championship game where Florida was able to claw away with from a 12-point deficit and with
Hmm.
great defense and phenomenal defense, I might say, on that last play, getting sharp in
Yes.
the air. To basically be undecided in the air whether he was going to shoot or pass it, and then to win like that in dramatic fashion was everything. They ended up winning 65-63. So yeah, Florida comes out on top.
Much more of a team effort on this end than, the last couple games. Walter Clayton Jr., 3 for 10. He had 11 points, but, Will Richard, 18 points. Alex Condon, 12 points. Much more of a team effort this go around in the region, in the national finals. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it because Houston's defense was locking down Walter Clayton Jr. They
Yeah,
was locking him down. Anytime he tried to come for that pick and roll early on in the game, they'd send that double team. He had a little bit of trouble getting out of it, but honestly, just shout out. He made some clutch plays down at the end though too, to end of the game, and just shout out everybody else for showing up when they needed to.
yeah,
That's pretty much all I have to say about it. The other guys showed up when they absolutely needed to, and that was the difference in the game. Because
yeah.
if you look at Houston, their leading scorer 19 points, LJ Cryer.
Hmm.
Anybody, nobody else had above double digits, which is
Yeah,
that cannot happen.
yeah. Also,
You could play defense, but you gotta score as well too.
yeah. Also, another thing, the refs were a lot tighter with their whistles in the second half
Yes.
than they were in the first half. I think in the first half for the most part, it was a clean game. I think there's only
Hmm.
like four fouls total in the first half, and then second half, next thing you know, there was like four with before we even got to the first media timeout. So that hindered them, and then also Houston was in foul trouble. Juwan Roberts got into foul trouble.
Hmm.
Their other big man, I'm forgetting his name, he as well got into foul trouble. So it was um it was tough on them because
Hmm.
they also didn't have their big men in the game with the Tugler fouling out. Yeah, like I said, and then Javier Francis, another
Hmm.
yeah, four fouls as well. So yeah, it was just tough luck in that second half, and the refs just randomly. I hate when refs do that too, when they just randomly just start calling the game tighter because it messes up the flow
It
uh,
does very
for
much
the
mess up the
teams.
flow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but like you said earlier, great defense on the last play of the game by Florida, to get Emmanuel Sharp to essentially just hesitate from shooting it.
Yeah,
And that was the half a second that they needed in his hesitation in the mind was all they needed to be able to seal this one out. Um, like you said with Duke as well, questionable play calling towards the end of the game with Houston. I feel like what's the coach's name for Houston?
Kelvin Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson. Like I feel like he's always like
Like,
so he's
yeah.
always right there. And the
Yeah.
same thing that we used to say about John Calipari and having all of these stars and whatnot, and just being right there, right there. And for years at this point now, he's been right there, this
Hmm.
close, and he's inching towards it every year. There's progression, but like you said, a lot of 22-year-old guys here, so he's gonna need a new team, different type of camaraderie, a different type of continuity.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where Houston ends up from after this, you
Yeah,
know?
I think in a way too early. I think they're still, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they're still up there in the
Mm,
power rankings. But yeah, they're one thing I know about Kelvin Sampson, excuse me, is the fact that he doesn't change. His philosophy is still going to be his philosophy. He's still I have no doubt about him. He's still going to have a great defensive team.
of
He's going
course,
to have
yeah.
guys. I think one of the things that he had cracked the code with was the fact that he had 3-point shooters on this
Hmm.
team. In
Yes.
previous years, he didn't have these type of 3-point shooters. So with Cryer and Sharp and Uzan and those guards that were just able to knock down these shots, especially like
Hmm.
in the first half, they were able to really go and knock down a good amount of shots. So yeah, I think that it's just a matter of getting over the hump, and he's like you said, he's been very close. It's just a matter of just getting over the hump, and I think he will. It's just a matter of time.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Moving on to the women's, Friday was their national semifinal games. South Carolina ends up winning 74 to 57 after Texas had took a very early 10 to 2 lead.
Hmm.
After that, South Carolina was able to chip away and able to get what they wanted. They were able to get the jump shots that they wanted. They were able to run the plays that they run their plays all the way through and get the buckets that they wanted. And they basically just showed Texas that they were no match for them. And
Yeah.
that was a pretty easy rollover for Don Staley's crew.
Hmm. Hmm.
Going to the next game that happened after that, UConn faced off against the overall number one seed in UCLA and beat them 85 to 51. Ugh, just
Beat
put
the
it,
brakes off of them.
just put it down on them, man. Just put it down on them.
There's quite literally nothing else to say about that.
Mm-mm.
Was able to hit mid-range shots. They were able to do everything that they wanted,
Yep,
essentially. They were
literally,
getting
literally.
steals. Azizi for Azizi. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Sarah and Strong, they was able to just do whatever they wanted. And then you got Page Buckets. Like what else? I don't Page Buckets. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm. And she
That's
wasn't even
that's all I
having
have
like
to say.
it's crazy. She wasn't even have the strongest game. She still ended up with 16 points.
Exactly.
But yeah, the freshman Sarah Strong, man, she's the truth. 22 points, 8 boards, 4 for 6 from three, 9 for 13 from the field.
The
Um,
passing of the torch has happened.
they excuse me, they let Lauren Betts for the most part do what she wanted to do. She had 26 points, but she was not dominating the glass. She only had 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
Everybody else, this is just their starting five. One had Angela, excuse me, had 6 points. Kiki Rice had 8 points. The other two had zero.
They
So it,
you all UConn had to do is just they're gonna let Lauren Betts eat.
mhm.
Will Let's see what the others do.
It was a
And they
good
were still the way that they were playing defense on Lauren Betts, they didn't make it that easy on her either.
no,
They
no.
made
It
her work
was
for that 26 points.
yes. She was under there struggling for those
Yeah.
26.
Hmm.
Moving on to the national championship game, they ended up whooping up on South Carolina 82 to 59.
85 in the regional finals, 82 in the nationals and then the national finals. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yep, Paige once again, 17 points. She was 5 of 14 from the field. Wasn't too crazy, but Fudd had 24 points. She was 9 for 17 from the field. Sarah Strong, 24 points, 10 for 15 from the field. They just it was just once again, it was just another masterpiece.
Azizi Fudd, 3 steals.
Yep.
Strong, 2 steals. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, that's defense, dog. That's defense.
And this is against a good South Carolina team too. In South Carolina, No one in their starting five had 10 points. No one had over 10 points.
And the thing was UConn was able to just run on them too.
Yeah.
Transition was great, hitting the shots that they needed to hit off the screens. They ran the same play like three times in a row. We were watching
We were
that
about, yeah.
in South Carolina, just couldn't stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, what a game. So proud of Geno. I love Geno. That's my guy. That's my guy. I love him as a coach, always getting his players to do what they need to do and recognizing the most and the true potential that they got,
Yep.
up there in the women's side. He's done a lot. He's done a lot, man. And all I could do is just be happy, sit back and watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that makes, if I'm not mistaken, that makes 12
Well,
national
yeah.
championships. 12 national championships, man. Still,
12 or 13, it might.
I did, yeah, it's either 12 or 13. I want to say it's 12, but regardless,
Just solidified
it's,
one of the greatest coaches of all time.
I think I'm not even gonna say one of, I think
The
in my opinion, the ability to, in 4 different decades, the ability to year by year adjust to everything that's going on because
hmm
basketball changes so much, especially nowadays, it changes so much for him to keep this program relevant because before he had got there, this program was nothing. Now he's built it into literally the powerhouse team that, most women want to go to coming out of high school. So, hats off to him and
have
everything.
the level of
Everything,
talent that
the
he's
level,
had,
yeah, the level of talent, and a lot of people also don't understand all of these girls that are coming in are, you know, Sarah Strong was, probably like top this or whatever. Paige was top this, Aziz was top this. People don't understand in order to bring all that together, everyone has to sacrifice something, in which they all do, but they all know at the end of the day it's for the betterment of the team. It's also for the betterment of themselves as well. And
hmm
yeah, just shout outs to him for being able to keep the chemistry going, from one year to the next, and just keeping these ladies on their toes at all times.
Yeah, there's nothing that's just great coaching, great motivation. You know how to motivate and galvanize your people, your troops, them guys, them girls that's behind you. And he's been doing it, like you said, for decades now.
Yep, yep, yep,
Decades.
yep. So, oh, that's gonna be awesome. Also, Paige Beckers is also reportedly supposed to be the number one pick in this year's WNBA draft. So tune into that. I believe that will be coming up in a couple weeks as well. So
Yeah, about May or something. No, early May,
I want to say,
late April, early May.
yeah, I want to say late April if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
because I know that they start the preseason early May.
hmm
But going off to the NBA. Had some shocking, and I mean shocking news on Tuesday. Now, the NBA we're winding down. The regular season is literally about to be over on Sunday after the game's on 3:30. It's over. Then we're into the play-in by Tuesday.
hmm
Nuggets fire head coach Michael Malone. They dismissed him in a meeting on Tuesday, April 8th. He is the winningest coach in franchise history, led the Nuggets to their first ring in 2023. Also, the Nuggets fired their general manager and Calvin Booth. Lead assistant David Alderman will serve as interim head coach. Nuggets are currently 40. This is back when I wrote it on Tuesday, 47 to 32. That obviously changed. They're 48 and 32 now and still fighting for a playoff spot. Malone is the third coach to be fired during the season, along with Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown.
hmm
From what I heard, from what Shams had reported, that there was tension between Malone and Booth. Booth wanted Malone to play the young players more, but Malone wanted to rely more on his vets. And there was other things in there too, from what I heard, that if they didn't win in 2023, that Malone was still going to be on his way out. So yeah, a lot going on in Denver. And
Uh, so much going on in Denver, and at this point, it just is. I hope that this is for the betterment of Nikola Jokic and the prime years that he still has left as of right now.
right,
Um, Michael Malone was a great coach, great human being. I thought, I think, still think. So it's sad to see that he just lost a job after he just won a championship 2 years ago.
Hmm.
and you lose it because of playing certain guys versus not playing certain guys, and, the toll that might take, on him just and the team itself too. Would you rather play the vets who know and have experience, or the young cats so they could get experience? It's a thin line that he had to follow, and I'm just sad that they weren't able to work it out. But I have no doubt that he'll be coaching somewhere within the next year and a half. After this season, he'll find another spot somewhere.
Yeah, most definitely after this season, he will
For
definitely find somewhere else to
Oh
go.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a question. The only question is where.
Put him in Memphis, dog.
Hey, if
Put
he
him in
could handle
Memphis.
that, got nothing but young boys over there though. I think their oldest players like Drew might be my age, in
But
26
they
or
need they
27.
need somebody to listen to, and he's the type of coach that you listen to.
He's also the type of coach that calls timeouts and is really, really in your face. Like he's a high school, college type of coach,
Hmm. Hmm.
So it also depends on who can really handle that because NBA players, for the most part, are not accustomed to that type of style
Hmm.
because they're not, no one's really in their face. Like,
Yeah,
you're not really going to get into certain guys' faces because,
ain't nobody holding them
out.
accountable. That's the problem.
Yeah, no one's holding them accountable, but also, that was the biggest thing I think in Denver. He even called it out. He said, most of these guys do not watch film. Like you ask them questions, they didn't know it, and that's basically because they did not watch film. And I
Mm.
think also that's because he just lost he lost the locker room. The locker room just was not listening to him anymore. So
Mm.
yeah, it's just a lot that goes into it. You could tell, and I think that we're gonna get more and more as time goes on too.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just shocking because it was like at this point you might as well just let it go. And
with
you want to just fire
a
him, just
couple
fire
games
him
left
after
in
the
the
season.
season, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't agree with the timing of it. The timing is very weird.
Yeah, timing. I'd say from Michael Malone's perspective and his team, the timing is disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
Disrespectful. You might as well just let him finish it out. If it's gonna
absolutely.
crash and burn, might as well just let him go down with it.
I mean, but this ain't the first time, ownership think that they in charge. We talked about how Sacramento did coach Mike Brown.
Hmm.
So,
But also, this is weird because if you know the Nuggets ownership, they also own like the LA Rams and they own I forgot who the other team is that they own. They own a couple other teams though, but
Mhm.
they don't really fire head coaches. That's not their thing.
So it's something.
So like
I
I
guess
said,
they
it
just
was
they didn't like the mesh of these two guys, so they just clean house.
yeah, yeah. Like I think that's what it really came down to is the fact that these guys aren't working out. One guy wants one thing, one guy is doing the other thing. So at the end of the day, either someone has to go or you just gotta let both of them go and you just gotta, figure it out from there.
Yeah.
But
No, I agree, brother. I mean, shocking news. I didn't expect this. When I seen it on my phone, I was like, "What the what?
yeah, yeah, that,
What?
that was one of
Season
those things where
playoff start on Sunday. What you mean?"
hmm kind of one of those things where I kind of looked at it and I was like, it's probably because of what Russ did that last game against the Timberwolves where he missed that layup and then he
Mm,
fouled what's his face? Was it Nikhil Alexander or was it Jaden McDaniels? I forgot which one it was. Yeah, fouled somebody on the 3-point line and basically lost them the game. So sucks. And then now Russ's minutes are actually diminishing and you're letting the young boys play now.
yeah, I mean, exactly, exactly.
But we'll see where that takes them. As like I said, they are still fighting for a playoff spot. I think if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that they are currently
They're
looking.
fourth right now.
They're fourth right now.
Yes,
Yeah, they're fourth right now. They got to play the
one game
Grizzlies.
behind LA,
They got to play the Grizzlies on Friday.
which is a big game for Memphis.
Yep, big game for both.
Big game for both.
Big game for
That
both
could
of
change
teams.
a lot.
Big game for both
State's still
teams.
fighting. Clippers even they still in the mix too.
Yeah, a lot of teams. Yep, that whole give it that 3 through 8. is still fighting.
Hmm.
Golden
Hmm.
Golden State has to be very careful.
Golden
Golden
State
State.
can't lose another game.
Yep, Golden State can't lose another game. Um, you know,
Memphis can't lose another
Memphis
game.
can't lose another game, and Minnesota can't lose another game. Basically, everybody here can't lose another game. If the Lakers win against, if I'm not mistaken, if the Lakers win Friday against Houston, they could lock up that third seed.
Mm.
So that would be very interesting to see. If they lock up third seed and then, just playing, these scenarios out. What if Memphis does end up beating the Nuggets? They got to drop the Clippers through the Clippers got Sacramento. I'm pretty sure that they could beat them. Not really worried about that. And then that their last game is against Golden State.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest of them all.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, and I'm looking at this right, it's 2-1 Golden State.
For their head-to-heads
Head to heads, 2-1 Golden State. With
with the Clippers and Golden State.
I'm sorry, Memphis and Golden State. My fault. My
Oh,
fault.
okay. Yep, I believe it is.
Loss, win. Yeah. Hey man, the Clippers still being in the mix is crazy. I can't lie.
I'm not surprised, actually. I'm not surprised at all. Kawhi's been playing very, very well. James is doing his
Mm,
thing. Zubac just had a triple double. Team, they're led by Ty Lue, who is
yes,
an
yes,
amazing coach.
yes.
So yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. This is
They flew
actually
under the radar, I feel like, this year, you know?
yeah, yeah, because they just haven't been making as much noise and doing as much as everybody else, but they've been keeping up with
You don't have to
the
when
biggest
you're
thing.
sitting right there.
Yeah, yeah, no, they've been keeping up with everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that 3 through 8 is going to be so crazy to watch because there's so many different scenarios that can happen.
Over the weekend, yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Some things are definitely going to shift and turn. I could see it right now, dude.
Oh yeah, big time, big
I can
time.
see it right now.
Like I said, the probably the two biggest games right now that we will be watching will be Denver and Memphis on Friday night, Clippers and Warriors on Sunday afternoon. So looking looking forward to that
Yeah, me too, dude. Me too. Me too,
for
dude.
sure. Also, looking at the East, the Knicks took a bad loss to Detroit, and now Indiana's only one game back of
Hmm.
that third seed for the Knicks. So the Knicks have to take care of business against Cleveland on Friday, and they have to take care of business to against Brooklyn on Sunday.
Those are two important games because they got to just at least stay three.
Yes, yes, you would want them. You would want them to stay in that third spot.
One plays eight, two plays seven, three plays six. I mean, yeah, you get Detroit first round.
Yeah, and and people were out there picking Detroit to
Like
win the series
Detroit
too.
is,
Detroit's the truth.
yeah.
I love that. Like I've been saying this for a good amount of the year. I just love the mixture of the roster with
Hmm.
vets and young guys.
Hmm.
You got your two young guys in like, Duran and you got Cunningham, but then you also got your vets in like your Schroeders, your Tobias Harrises, your Isaiah Stewarts. You got guys that have been around for a little bit, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be these races, man.
It, it, it's about to be, it's a hair. It's a hair, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna just have to wait and see. We gonna watch. We gonna see,
Mm-hmm.
brother.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what is also interesting as well?
Mm.
The fact that Orlando has locked up the seventh seed in the play-in.
Mm.
If Atlanta takes care of business, Atlanta can mess around. So Atlanta has to play Orlando the last game of the season.
Okay.
If they mess around and keep that A spot, they have to go back to Orlando to play them in the play-in.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
So that would
That'll
be
be yeah. So it'll be the last game of the season. Then they got to play him right a couple days later.
yeah.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Okay.
That's one of those.
A
That's one.
little tournament action kind of.
Mhm. That's one of those where you just like, I gotta see these guys again.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite literally. Quite literally. And we know how hard it is to beat a team, a lot of times in the
Yeah,
season.
yeah. And think about it, they're in the same division, so they have to see each other four times already. This would be the
Yeah.
fifth if they had to meet up in the play-in at any given point, actually.
Wow.
So yeah, annoying to say the least.
Very. I could tell. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. For Atlanta or for Orlando,
Yeah.
you know.
But that's our episode. That's our time for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed just as much as we did, per usual. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, you know, share our stuff, just help us get out there. And till then, I'm your host Cam Silver,
I'm your co-host Kyle Silver.
and this is the Silver Boys.
Thank you. Thank you.